And welcome to my channel. My name's Rowan, Lyranwitch, and I'm going to be doing a collective message today and just seeing what our guides, the earth, the nature spirits have to tell us about what is going on in the collective energy. There have been a lot of shifts lately that I've seen with my clients and with myself, and it made me think that I should start doing more messages than just once in a while. So we will be getting to that now. Thank you as well to everybody who has taken the time, energy, and resources to sow into my channel by donating decks for collective readings, which some of these are from people who have donated. Thank you so much. And everybody who comes to me for readings, comes to me for coaching, energy healing, and animal communication. I really appreciate you guys. So let's see what's going on. I'm just intuitively pulling here, and we're going to get some dream messages as well. The first thing that I'm seeing for all the collective energy right now is this stream of purple. It's like purple energy just coming in through the third eye. So a lot of you may have had headaches or third eye sort of upgrades, if you want to think of it that way. And this purple energy stream is a different form of protection than a lot of us are used to. And it's also an energy that we've had with us for multiple lifetimes that a lot of us have not been able to access due to a lot of interference from negative entities that might have been from the family. A lot of us are here to clear generational curses. A lot of us are here to clear cycles and energy streams that have been around since very ancient times. So that is why that is happening. Now let's see what you would be experiencing as these new upgrades are coming in. With the food card here, I'm seeing that a lot of you have either been thinking a lot about food or dreaming about food. Food talks about emotional, spiritual, or intellectual nourishment. It represents qualities you're seeking or need to seek for your personal development. So some of you may be changing your diet at this time. Some of you might just be thinking about changing your diet or reflecting on different ways you've eaten in the past, how your food relates to your culture, any of these different things. It's getting down to basics and remembering your origin points. That's a big part of what has been blocking a lot of people, is either striving away from your origin or being so focused on it that you don't have the balance of where you personally are going. One of the things that Spirit always reminds me is that nobody is here to just do what their ancestors wanted them to do. Everybody has to balance your ancestral lineage and the whole goal that your lineage had and your own, which is going to be something totally new that's inspired. We want now to talk about something that has been blocking a lot of people that's going to be shifting right now. Any kind of blocks you've had around healing, especially for those of you who are energy healers out there, if you felt kind of blocked or out of touch with your healing energy lately, or your personal protection, telepathy, connection, all of that stuff is going to be coming back. For those of you who have star lineage connections or had a lot of past lives in other places, you're going to feel a lot more tapped in than you have in the past few years. Since 2020, there's been a lot of interference in the collective, and it's largely affected those of us who had a very open crown chakra, a very open third eye, and very open heart space. So those of us who had that were being overwhelmed by the energies, and all of us were called to ground. That's why, if you've been following me for a while, a lot of my work now has focused on grounding, because that was something that was relatively new for me and something I was called to pass on to my clients as well. So that is something that's going to be coming back now, is, now that we know how to ground properly, now that we know how to release the energies that we're absorbing from this world and from the people around us as we're helping, as we're assisting them, now we're going to be able to tap into higher realms that weren't safe for us to do so before. We also have Azurite coming up here. Divine guidance, stillness, new connections, astral travel. So a lot of us have been having dreams, what I'm hearing, having dreams about meeting different people, knowing that there's soul family ready to come in, but it's been blocked for a long time. Like, where are these people, right? You might even have soul family that's far away from you, like at a physical distance if you do know them online. Those things are going to be shifting now so that you can actually begin to come together. The next 3 years are going to be bringing so many people physically together that have work to do on this realm. It's like, I just intuitively picked up this card and there's like this long passageway that's very confusing. It's a maze. And it's like, you've been being pushed into these different areas of the maze and not able to really comprehend where you're going. And you're going to be presented a map of the maze now. You're going to be able to tap into those energies of your guides that'll help you reach these people instead of leading you to, there's a toilet in the middle here, instead of just leading you to some more crap, essentially. Because, that's kind of how it is before we go through our awakening process, before we're able to clear all those heavy ancestral energies. That's when we're attracting the same crap as before. Some of you as well, since this is the dream deck, it's worth mentioning. Some of you might have had dreams of being unable to find a restroom, or dreams of like wetting yourself, things like that. Searching unsuccessfully for a restroom or lavatory is a sign that you're feeling frustrated or blocked in some way in your waking life, which is literally what we're talking about. Like feeling that there's something standing in the way, and that's literally those energies that your ancestors weren't able to clear, that you came here to handle. So if you're the only one in your family who seems to be, quote unquote, getting it, if you're the only one who seems to be understanding your identity in a new way, like let's say that you might be somebody like me who's queer and you're one of the only people in your family who's queer or out about it, and you might be really isolated from people or have been isolated for a long time and kind of wandering around looking for your people. These are the times that's going to align. And you may even see other people in your family open up to these things and admit that they actually have a lot more in common with you than you suspected. And it feels very unfair because we are sort of the trailblazers in our families a lot of the time. And it's a great feeling when you see the other people begin to do this healing work. But with the Judgment card here, this is a caution against you trying to handle their work for them. Now, a lot of you have already learned that lesson. To not try to take on the physical lessons for your family. You can clear the energy. You can send them healing. You can even support in a very limited way, but whenever you try to take on somebody else's lessons, the universe will give you that lesson in your own life again to let you know that you've already done this. There's no reason you had to do this again. So let these people kind of face their judgment for their choices. They have to handle the choices they made. And sometimes that means mentally too, dealing with the roadblocks they've put in their own way and allowed other people to put in their own way. Ultimately, these are solo journeys. We can support each other on our solo journeys, but that's something to remember. And with the Knight of Pentacles here, blockages around money are clearing at this time. The long-term situations that needed to align for money as a collective here were not happening before. They were blocked from us. We kept being led to the same kind of people in different bodies, the same kind of jobs in different situations. And this is going to be aligning now. This came up in reverse and it's going to be switching. Now, these two messages are things that are necessary for this to switch. So let's look into them. So 2 things that may be coming up in your subconscious, in your dream world, or just things you've been reflecting on. Children. So some of you might be thinking about how children are treated in your family, how you treat your own children. If you haven't had children, you may be considering or thinking about why you don't want children. Kind of family dynamics are coming up here. It says here, children in dreams tend to be a positive sign, symbolizing joy, spontaneity, or warmth. Depending on your circumstances, they could also indicate a desire for more fun, energy, or innocence. So Another thing that's coming up here with the desire for innocence and fun is so many of us have been trapped in survival cycles. Anytime you're dealing with poverty, it's exhausting and it keeps you in this scramble. And that's what's going to be shifting here is you're going to be alleviated. There's going to be things that come in to alleviate this struggle now so that you can have more fun and you can take the time to think, the time to reflect, the time to interact with things that make you feel safe, because ultimately poverty leads to not feeling safe. And it's very hard to come back from that. And some of you might even have sort of PTSD around money. That's something that I've kind of dealt with as well. So I truly feel for you on that. And it just takes time and it takes reflection and it takes a lot of daily routine to remind yourself that you do have enough. And sometimes that does start with food. I think that the reason that food came up at the beginning is because I personally use food to help remind me that I do have enough at different times in my life. Even if you don't have an excess, if you can have certain kinds of foods that bring you comfort in moderation and constantly remind yourself you have access to them, it can really help to alleviate some of the lack of safety around this. That's just something that I've found in my life personally. So that may resonate for somebody. Another thing coming up about jobs is transport. So you might be thinking about or struggling with finding transportation. Some of you may have had car troubles, not had the money to go visit people you need to, or fly to a place that you need to, or move to a place you need to in order to get what you need. It says any mode of travel is likely to convey a message about the way you're making progress in your life. The most significant question is whether or not you're driving or navigating. Are you just a passenger? The latter scenario suggests that you're being passive and might benefit from taking more control. You need to drive your own life forward. The speed and direction of your travel will offer further intuitive clues. Aircraft in dreams suggest new experiences and excitement. Bicycles indicate a need for balance. There may be opposing forces or people that you need to reconcile. So, again, this is speaking of those family dynamics that we talked about earlier with the children coming up here. I feel that for a lot of you, this is looking at ways in which the family line or family expectations may have thrown up roadblocks in your way. There could have been some financial control happening for some of you, or financial abuse even occurring for some of you from your family, using money to control you, using transport to control you. Especially, if you need transportation to get to work, to get what you need, whatever that is for you. That can be very traumatizing. That can be upsetting. So this is something that Spirit is letting you know about, that you're going to be receiving in ease with this. That sort of purple energy that I saw flowing into the third eye and into the crown. That's inspiration. That's them leading you to the next step to get what you need. So whatever your specific transport issue is, pay attention to that inkling that you need to be in a certain place one day. So for example, if you're just randomly walking down the street and you feel really called to go into a coffee shop that you don't ever go in and you don't even know why you're going in, you don't even want coffee, whatever, follow that impulse, because you might get to talking to somebody and they mention they're selling their car. Bring up these things in conversation that you need. I'm hearing a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So do be aware of this. Also, they're showing me specifically a bulletin board. So this may have meaning for somebody here, but pay attention to classifieds, bulletin boards, things like this, because there is even Craigslist or something similar, depending on where you live, but pay attention to things that people have put out there, because there's this sense of as soon as you speak about it, it's going to be brought to you and it's already laid out for you. So they're showing me like a classified or a written thing that's already available. So go ahead and check those out. Even if you've looked a bunch of different times, I feel that reflecting on that now will be very important for you, or lead you in the right direction. We also have the Two of Cups here. And this came up in reverse. So if you've been having relationship problems because of all this stress, or not even been able to focus on relationships because of all the stress of, food, poverty, transport issues, dealing with family dynamics, all that stuff is going to come together. So Spirit is congratulating you for realizing that you can't focus on this right now. And that's okay. Focus on what you need to focus on first. As soon as this stuff is coordinated, is settled, and as soon as you've given that to Spirit and allowed them to step in and assist you, and you've put in that work to meet them halfway, that's when you'll be able to switch your focus. So if some of you are too focused on relationships, this is kind of a little checkpoint to be like, back off of that. This is not the time. I know it's a distraction that can feel really good sometimes, but it's not the right time. And lastly, we do have red clover coming up with the 10 of Cups. So I actually was called to pick a red clover yesterday, so I have one here. And red clover is this really, it kind of reminds me of a youthful energy. I've always connected with it as kind of that middle school to high school age, to me, has a connection to red clover. So you might have energies from that time cycling through. You might have things you're processing from that time in your life that are coming forward right now. But what I want you to know is that the things that you were wishing for at that time are worth looking at again. I feel that some of you have gotten so beaten down and so jaded or eroded by the world that you've kind of lost track of why you started doing some of the things you were doing. And red clover is coming forward in a powerful way today to remind us that it's worth looking back at those things. Get back in touch with that part of yourself. And know that this is something that if it calls to you, then there is a way to get it. I'm personally of the mind and always told by Spirit that if there's something that is really important to me, that I really want for a long time, not just in passing, but for years, then that's a sign that there's a part of me that's aligned with that timeline already, that thing has a way to come to me. It's just a matter of time until I get there. It's just a matter of me putting in the effort to get there. And I do feel that for this group. So don't lose hope. These things are aligning before the end of the year, for sure. For some of you, before Thanksgiving. So this is a timeless message. So at the time we're watching this, or at the time I'm filming this, I'm sorry, this is October. So it could be, from about a month and a half from when you're watching. But take it as it resonates, because all of my messages that I share here are timeless. So that is what I have for you. I hope that this serves you today. And I hope that this at least gives you some hope moving forward, because it has been a very challenging year energy-wise for everyone I've talked to. And most of us are not out here like sharing our traumas or sharing the crazy shit that we've experienced. And I promise you, if you've been on the spiritual path for a while, it's been insane since 2020. But things are improving. Things are getting better. It might not look like it yet, but the more that you meet Spirit halfway and follow their guidance, they will begin to bring things to you. I'm seeing evidence of that in my own life now, and I wanted to share this with you. So I'm sending you all lots of love. I will see you in the next one, and let me know in the comments if any of this resonated, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe if this meant something to you. It might help somebody who is out there who needs some hope, so feel free to share it with anyone you think it would resonate with. And have a good one, guys. I'll see you in the next one.